For over 1,000 years, the Galactic Republic, with the aid of the Jedi Order, ruled over much of the galaxy. Led by a Senate and Chancellor, they strove to honor the values of democracy, liberty, and equality on all member worlds. Yet after so many years of relative peace and prosperity, corruption and greed came to haunt the government, with self-serving politicians manipulating the system for their own advantage. Disheartened by the Republic's inability to address their concerns, a number of planets joined together, forming the Confederacy of Independent Systems, led by Count Dooku, a former Jedi, now working to liberate those under Republic oppression. But in truth, Count Dooku had fallen to the dark side, taking the name Darth Tyrannus to become the apprentice of Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith Order. Sidious, who was posing as Chancellor Palpatine, leader of the Republic, orchestrated the Separatist threat from behind the scenes in order to plunge the galaxy into war so he might assume dictatorial powers and ultimately destroy the Jedi and Republic. This then led to the Clone Wars, seeing a clone army fight for the government while battle droids represented the Separatists. Between the years 22 and 19 BBY, fighting raged across the galaxy, and the Republic soon learned that the Geonosians under Archduke Poggle the Lesser were designing a massive superweapon for the Separatists. A threat deemed so serious, they decided to start construction of their own superweapon, with the goal of completing their work before Count Dooku's project was realized. The idea for such technology traces its history back thousands of years to the age of the Old Republic, when the Sith Order constructed superweapons in various forms, unleashing massive devastation against their enemies, and were only stopped when the Jedi Order and their allies destroyed the massive machines. Having existed so far in the past, the schematics and details of how such weapons were created had largely been lost over time, making it exceedingly difficult to replicate the technology. Undeterred by such limitations, the Republic government, under direct orders from Chancellor Palpatine and Grand Vizier Mas Amedda, authorized the formation of a strategic advisory cell to work in secret and begin the process of building the weapon. In order to oversee the project, the ambitious Lieutenant Commander Orson Krennic was made director, leaving his position with the Corps of Engineers in order to advance his standing within the government. Yet as they studied and planned for the weapon's construction, Krennic understood there was only one man capable of seeing the project realized. Remembering his old school friend Galen Erso, a brilliant scientist who'd spent much of his life researching and working on energy production. But Erso was known to be eccentric and frustratingly principled, considering himself a pacifist and conscientious objector, refusing to take sides during the Clone Wars. He therefore went to work for the Zerpan Corporation on the remote planet of Vault, attempting to create artificial kyber crystals, which he knew had enormous potential for his energy research, but which were exceedingly rare and difficult to attain because of the restrictions placed on the crystals by the Jedi Order, who used them to power their lightsabers and who claimed the crystals were attuned to the Force. Yet the war eventually found them, with Vault becoming a separatist world, seeing Galen arrested and accused of espionage for the Republic. Vault then offered to free him if he committed to working directly for their government, but he refused, steadfast that he was a neutral party and would not involve himself in the war. During his incarceration, he was separated from his pregnant wife, Lyra Erso, but remaining on relatively friendly terms with his jailers, was allowed to attend the birth of his daughter Jyn. Krennic, learning of his old friend's peril, led a Republic operation, first to capture Separatist operatives, then trading them for the Erso family. After rescue, he launched an unexpected attack against Vault, allowing for the world to be captured by the Republic. Knowing that Erso would never agree to join in the superweapon project if asked directly, Krennic began a long process of manipulation, pretending to protect and help the Ersos, while in the background working against them to limit their options and increase Galen's desperation for meaningful work. Meanwhile, Count Dooku's separatist ally, Poggle the Lesser of Geonosis, was released from Republic incarceration and returned to his homeworld after promising to use his planet's labor force to construct the Republic superweapon, now conceived as a moon-sized mobile battle station. But Poggle only feigned cooperation, soon using the violent nature and tendencies of his people to sabotage the construction, then orchestrating his escape, returning to Count Dooku and the separatist forces. This and many other setbacks greatly frustrated frustrated Krennic, but still he refused to pressure Galen, confident that in time the man would choose to work on the project of his own volition. And so, to speed that process along, he ensured no one was willing to hire Erso, and even made it difficult for him to leave Coruscant, arranging for a needless investigation into Galen's ties to Zerpan and the Separatists. Then, when the scientist was at his most vulnerable, Krennic arranged for a job opportunity far below his level of skill and genius. Working for Helical Hypercom, he built communication devices under a hard-headed and insecure boss who wanted none of Galen's help or suggestions for how to improve production. But soon, this opportunity was also taken away, as Galen and his family barely escaped a Separatist attack on his new home. What they didn't know, however, was that the war was finally reaching its end, with the sudden death of Count Dooku, fall of the Jedi Order, and emergence of the Galactic Empire under Emperor Palpatine. Although Galen's wife Lyra lamented the deaths of the Jedi, herself a follower of the Force religion, most simply moved on, eager for peace and willing to give the Empire a chance at stabilizing the galaxy. With the fighting ended, Krennic was now ready to present a new opportunity to his friend Galen, offering to put him in charge of a research facility on Coruscant with access to the best scientists and materials available, where he could work directly with kyber crystals, no longer restricted by the Jedi Order, to finally achieve his vision of cheap, renewable energy for everyone. Krennic then continued his manipulation and lies, stating that the Emperor shared Galen's desire for renewable energy, authorizing Project Celestial Power for that very purpose. This was Galen Erso's dream job, and so he accepted, moving permanently to Coruscant to begin his work. Lyra Erso, however, was proving an obstacle to progress, as she did not trust Krennic and greatly resented the Emperor and Empire for their callous betrayal of the Jedi. And so the Lieutenant Commander arranged for a project to occupy her time, sending her to a remote world in search of a new source of kyber crystals. With no more distractions, Galen was able to make tremendous progress and became a dutiful servant of the Empire after Krennic informed him that Separatist sympathizers and anarchists were continuing to fight against them, even destroying some of the facilities dedicated to furthering Galen's research. Krennic's connection to his old friend now finally paid off as he gained popularity and standing in the government, becoming an ally of Mas Amedda and being promoted to the rank of commander. Yet already, the seeds of his downfall were planted, as Lyra Erso was now working with a Dracilian smuggler named Has Obit, who had been pressed into service by Krennic many years earlier, working on covert projects for the Republic and Empire. The friendship he developed with Lyra and her child Jin led him to turn against the Empire, knowing the truth about what horrors they committed in the shadows. As part of his turn against them, he took Lyra to see a number of planets which had been devastated by the Imperial machine, which mercilessly stripped these worlds of all natural resources, even violating the sanctity of Legacy World status, which supposedly protected many planets from such exploitation. And while his assets turned against him, Krennic also faced a powerful threat from within the Empire, as Moff Wilhuff Tarkin had become a bitter rival, seeing them engage in a political battle, each of them maneuvering to undermine the other. Tarkin, however, had no immediate plans to usurp Krennic's position, instead focusing on his pacification campaigns, biding his time and allowing for the many blunders and setbacks of Project Celestial Power to be blamed squarely on Krennic, using him as a scapegoat for any problems that might arise, and leaving his own reputation intact so he can move in and take command of the mobile battle station when it was closer to completion. Krennic, developing his own strategy for how to deal with Tarkin, arranged for Has Obit to smuggle weapons onto the world of Salient 2 in order for the Empire to accuse them of illegally obtaining armaments so they could invade and take control of the planet. Has had done this kind of work for the Empire before, but after spending time with Lyra Erso, no longer felt he could be part of such atrocities. Yet Krennic was aware of the man's wavering dedication and knew that he would not go through with the plan. And just as expected, Has betrayed the Empire, gathering together a ragtag group of rebels to help Salient forces resist Imperial conquest. Among his crew was the veteran warrior Saw Gerrera, who fought in the Clone Wars to liberate his homeworld of Onderon, and now, seeing through the Empire's lies, fought them. Moff Tarkin, charged with the annexation of the world, was now bogged down in a difficult fight against Salient insurgents, occupying his time and attention, allowing for Commander Krennic to continue his work undisturbed. But soon, the tables turned against him, as Tarkin completed his conquest of Salient, capturing Has Obit alive, while Saw Gerrera escaped. Has Haas was interrogated and turned into a spy for Tarkin, allowed to escape captivity and head for Coruscant, where he was instructed to return to the service of Krennic so he might leak information to his new Imperial master. At the same time, Lyra and Galen were discovering the truth of Project Celestial Power, learning about the Empire's atrocities on other worlds and how they were attempting to weaponize his research. After a tense argument with Krennic in which their suspicions were all but confirmed, the Erso family fled Coruscant, arranging passage through their friend Haas Obit, now free from Imperial custody. But escaping with the former smuggler and rebel would be too obvious and easily detected by Krennic, and so Haas sent his comrade Saw Gerrera to pick them up and relocate them to the distant world of La Moon, where they might be safe from the Empire. Haas, meanwhile, returned to Krennic's service, claiming he was simply trying to save his own life on Salient and never intended to turn against his Imperial benefactor. Krennic hesitantly accepted his explanation, unaware that he was now working with a Tarkin spy. In addition, the loss of the genius Galen Erso reflected poorly on the commander, and while he claimed that other scientists could continue the man's work, it was clear progress would be slowed significantly, causing him to be demoted back to the rank of lieutenant commander, with his hated enemy Wilhuff Tarkin assigned to Sentinel Station in order to oversee Krennic's continued work on the mobile battle station. Furious with the Ersos, Krennic vowed to search for them, no matter how long it might take, unwilling to end his efforts until they were found. A special thanks to all those who contribute to Civilization X, like Eden Gruir, Spicy Sky Frugran, Wolf the Quarrelsome, and Sir Rice of the Dreadfort. If you would like to help Civilization X, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like and subscribe, and click on the links to see more.